All right, our last and final review video is going to go over the checking solutions and the word problem lessons that we did at the end of this chapter. So I have two questions here just to go over with you. First one is checking solutions. So remember, they're going to give you an equation and they're going to ask you to check your solution, or they might use the word evaluate. So think about, if they say, is -2 a solution? What should you do to figure this out? Hopefully you said we should take this -2 and plug it into the equation. So we should be plugging in a -2 right here next to 3, because that's where the x is. And we'll continue with the -5. And then we should also be plugging in a -2 right here next to this 2, where the x is. And then continue on with the -1. From there, we want to evaluate this, make sure that it actually is equal. If the two sides are equal, then it is a solution. If the two sides are not equal, then it is not a solution. So remember, when we have parentheses like this, we're going to multiply. So 3 times -2 is a -6, and then -5 equals, and then on this side, 2 times a -2 is a -4, and then -1. So then again, we can either use a calculator for this, or we can do it in our head. -6, and then we're going to subtract 5 more from that, which means we're going to get an even bigger negative, -11. And then over here, -4, and then subtracting 1 more from that, which means we'll get a -5. Now, obviously, these two numbers are not the same. -11 is not the same thing as -5. Therefore, this is not a solution. So the answer is no. So now we can check our other one. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to do that same thing, only we're going to use the number 4. So I'm going to take and do 3 times 4 minus 5. And then I'm going to do 2 times 4 minus 1. Okay, so 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. So on this left-hand side, we're going to end up with a 7. Then on this side, 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. So now we notice these two sides are the same. 7 equals 7. Therefore, this is a solution, so we can put yes. So again, that's how we check our solution. So even when we're solving the equations ourselves, we can still check our solutions that way. So if I actually algebraically solve this equation, that means I'm going to take this 2x and subtract it from both sides, so that way my x's are on the same side. So then 3x minus 2x is just 1x minus 5 equals, and then on this side 2x minus 2x is 0, so I just have this -1. Then I want to move this -5 over here so that all the numbers are on the same side. Again, I'm going to add the opposite. That's our legal move, is to add the opposite. So I'm going to end up with x equals, and then 5 minus 1 is 4. So notice I end up with x equals 4. Well, we just did a problem a second ago where if I take 4 and I plug it back in, it will be correct. So that's how I know that my solution here is 4. 4 is a solution to my problem. So that's the first part, which is evaluating or checking solutions. The second lesson, and the last lesson that we're going to go over today for your review, is the word problem lesson. So remember that we are going to have many different word problems. We're going to have many different equations to set up, and then we're also going to evaluate those. Okay? So sometimes they might actually give you the equation. So if they were to just give me the equation and say the equation is y equals 2x plus 5, and then they say, okay, well, what's the cost going to be in 5 hours or 4 hours? Again, all we do is plug in a 4 here and solve it. If it says what is the cost in 9 hours, all we do is plug in a 9 here and solve it. If it says the cost is $102 or whatever, we would plug that in over here for our total. However, in this problem, it doesn't give us an equation. We need to write our own equation. So let's read the problem and see what's going on. A canoe rental service charges a $20 transportation fee and $30 an hour to rent a canoe. Okay, so just looking at that, our first thing says to write an equation using x and y. So we know that y normally stands for the total, the cost, right? The equation representing the cost, which is y. So I know my equation is going to start off with y equals. But then I have to figure out the rest of it. Okay, well, up here it says there's a $20 transportation fee. Well, it doesn't seem like you're going to be paying $20 often, just once. Just one service charge of $20. So this is just going to be one fee. Whereas it says $30 an hour, which means for every hour it's going to be $30 more. So we are going to take that $30 and we are going to multiply it by x, which represents the number of hours. Then from there, we are going to take and we're going to add on to that $20 fee. It's just $20 at the end. So if I do 1 hour, it's $30 plus $20 because it's only 1 hour, right? If I do 2 hours, then that means I need $60 because it's $30 per hour and then plus that $20. So this is our equation. Now from there, we just want to figure out how much it's going to be for 4 hours and how much it's going to be for 9. So again, remember, all I'm going to do is plug that 4 hours in by my 30, because 30 times 4, that's going to tell me how much that's going to be. And then from there, I'll add on $20 at the end for that transportation fee. So 30 times 4 is 120. 120 plus 20 is going to equal $140. Then we can do that same thing down here for the 9 hours. So we're going to take our $30 an hour. We're using it for 9 hours. And then we have that $20 transportation fee. So 30 times 9. Well, 3 times 9 is 27, and then we can just add a 0. So 270 plus that other $20. So we will get $290 for 9 hours of canoeing. Not sure who would canoe for 9 hours, but maybe somebody would.